Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had a really great day trading today. So today was Wednesday, November 20th, and we followed a very similar trading pattern to the day before, where we started low and then we closed up, and we did close nearly flat. We did open at the bottom of the implied move. You could see the wick just a little bit outside of that implied move, which was 585, and that 1 hour 200 moving average was there as well. So that very first candle today was the low of the day. If you did have bull put spreads at 585, 584 ready at open, then those would have filled for you. And then on the bounce back up, those would have closed up 100%. So we did tap that 1 hour 200 moving average. We came back up. This 35 EMA showed a little bit of resistance here. Then we dropped back down, hooked around the 30-minute 200 moving average, and took it up to close green. And we kept the trading today between the two battle zones. You could see this up gap and down gap right here. We stayed underneath that. And then we had this down gap here and this up gap here from the election, and we stayed above that. So definitely doing some consolidation around the 30-minute 200 moving average. And like I said, this does look like a bear flag to me. It does not mean it has to be. That is just the pattern that sticks out to me. And SPX, same thing over here. We did open at the bottom of the implied move, and today the bottom of the implied move was 58.65. On that drop, I sold 58.60, 58.50 bull put spreads, and I sold them for $3 a piece. And that first candle was the low of the day. We bounced on the 1 hour 200 moving average, and then we brought it back up to the 35 EMA. Initially saw resistance there, pulled back just a little bit, and then took a swing up to close completely flat here. So in anticipation of Nvidia earnings, we did see that swing at the end of the day. And here you could see that this 35 EMA did come all the way down to touch the 30-minute 200 moving average. So it didn't cross down yet, but this is a make it or break it level. We could go bearish from here, or we could bounce. So keep an eye on these two moving averages. If this 35 EMA crosses under, that is a sell signal. And same thing over here. We did stay between the two battle zones, the one up here and the one right here, consolidating around the 30-minute 200 moving average all week. SPY closed up 0.03%. SPX closed completely flat, 0.00%. VIX up 4.96%. So 2 days in a row, we've seen VIX up about 5. And we did stay completely within the implied move today. And QQQ, same price action over here. We dropped down to the bottom of the implied move, which was 497. So if you did have orders at 497, 496, those would be bull put spreads, then they would have closed up 100% at expiration. So we did bounce off the bottom of the implied move, got above the 1 hour 200 moving average, and took it all the way up to the 30-minute 200 moving average. Now remember yesterday I mentioned that QQQ did close bearish. 35 EMA came underneath, and we closed right here. And look at that today, that 35 EMA pulled away from the 30-minute 200 moving average, and we still have bearish moving averages here in QQQ. This also to me looks like a bear flag. After I'm done with this video, I will do a few posts on TradingView with targets if this does end up turning out to be a bear flag. And here we did stay completely under this gap right here. Really fun day over here. QQQ closed down 0.06%, VXN up 4.3%, and we did close within the implied move today. And IWM, we did drop down to the bottom of the implied move. We did not stay there for long, so you definitely had to have 228, 227 bull put spreads in, or you would have missed it. We did pull right back up and took it to the 30-minute 200 moving average. And let me just zoom in here a little bit, because at first we did see this 35 EMA as resistance, but then we did see that pop at the end of the day. Very likely because we were prepping for Nvidia earnings. So we did see that power hour pop. If you were looking down here, you could see that this signal line was still green. So at open, we dropped down to the bottom of the implied move, and then we swung it all the way back up to close up 0.13%. RVX closed up 3.2%. So volatility is definitely increasing across the board, and we did stay completely within the implied move here. It's pretty nice to know where the bottom of the implied move is, though, isn't it? IWM is currently bearish. This 35 EMA is underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. And even though the price did close above that 30-minute 200 moving average, we are bearish. Do not be surprised if we pull back underneath until that 35 EMA comes back up. But right now we are bearish. All right, and then DIA. DIA also dropped down today, stayed really close to the 30-minute 200 moving average all day. At the very end of the day, we finally broke up above this 35 EMA that has been resistance since last week. So first blue candle that we've seen, and you could see this 35 EMA came all the way back down to the 30-minute 200 moving average, and it's at a make it or break it level. We could definitely swing back up here. That does make for a really good pullback, and we do have the election gap right here holding us up as well. But if this 35 EMA does slip underneath this 30-minute 200 moving average, then this election gap, I guarantee you we will fill it. So we did have a green day today in DIA, but we are completely flat on the week and actually just a little bit red. So DIA did close up 0.33%, so the biggest gainer today. Yesterday, I believe it was the biggest loser, so today it had the biggest up move, and we did stay within the implied move on the day, and we are completely in the middle of the implied move for the week. All right, good times. Let me know how you guys did today. I had a nice, easy green day, and then let's go check out tomorrow's levels. All right, guys, so tomorrow's trading ranges are really wide. Volatility has been expanding ever since we had the CPI and PPI and then that down gap last week. So VIX has been up 15% since this right here, and that has given us expanded trading ranges. So tomorrow's trading ranges are really wide across the board. Maybe not so much IWM, but SPY and QQQ definitely expanded ranges. You'll see that in just a minute. But before we head into tomorrow's trading ranges, if you find these videos useful, if they help you to choose better strikes and take better trades, and you love how I break it down every night, then please make sure to give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and if you want to help support my channel, if you think I earned it, then there's a thank you button underneath the video. And thank you so much to everyone who has already helped contribute to the growth of my channel. All right, so tomorrow in SPY, the implied move is between 584 and 597. That is from options. 30-day average volatility is exactly the same. It's actually just a little bit wider, but it does round out to the same, being 584 to 597. And then the implied move on Friday's contract, 583 to 598. So spreads are $1 wide, and next day's implied move is wider than the 30-day average volatility. So definitely expect volatility tomorrow. The last 2 days, I mentioned that the days were really easy for me, and usually when I have a bunch of really easy days back to back, then the next day I end up giving some of that back. So tomorrow I'm going to be trading cautiously and waiting for the setups to come to me. I'm not going to be rushing into any trades tomorrow. And to the upside in SPY tomorrow, the first level to look for is going to be this right here. This is that up gap and the down gap. This is an island top gap. I like to call it a battle zone gap. And earlier this week, this was actually yesterday, when we came back up, we filled this red part of the gap. As soon as we came up to the green part of the gap, we got pushed down. So today we did close just underneath that. So this is going to be our first level. The bottom of this is 591. The top of the bull gap is 592.60 and 593.30 for the top of the gap. Oftentimes in these kinds of gaps, either the top of the bear gap or right here where the bull gap and bear gap overlap, once that's filled, we very often see resistance. So 593, I'm going to round it out to 593. That is where I'm expecting to see resistance tomorrow if we do pop up. If we do get above all that, anything in this trading range is possible. If we do push up above these two gaps, then the top of the implied move is 597 and 598 on Friday's contract. The downside, we have the 35 EMA, just under that, the 30-minute 200 moving average, and these are still bullish. We have not crossed down yet, so we are bullish in the moving averages. Stupid Willie, however, does not have a green signal line, so we don't have a fully bullish setup, but at least with the moving averages we do. So if we pull back down tomorrow and find support on this 35 EMA, then this will pull through and we might go for another run or an attempt to fill this gap. And then that 30-minute 200 moving average is underneath that. We have been chopping around that level all week. This was actually since last Friday right here, and then this Monday right here. Bottom of the implied move is 584 and 583 on Friday's contract. And because the trading range is so wide, I likely would not be looking to get into bull put spreads until we actually got down to this level here. I'm just not chancing it with the trading ranges being so wide tomorrow. And SPX, the implied move over here tomorrow is between 58.55 and 59.80. That is from options. 30-day average volatility lines right up with that. And then the next day on Friday's contract, 58.45 to 59.90. And here we also have this island top battle zone gap, and the bottom of the bull gap is at 59.30, I'm going to call it. Top of the bull gap is 59.45 and 59.50 is the top of the bear gap here. So expect a little bit of resistance, and especially if we get to right here. If we do break above that, then 59.80 is the top of the implied move and 59.90 on Friday's contract. Underneath us, 35 EMA, and this is where it differs a little bit from SPY. So SPX, we are not bullish here with the 35 EMA. It did actually cross just underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. So if you're going to look at one over the other, always look at SPX. SPY trades based on SPX. So if there's any doubt, choose SPX. So 35 EMA here did cross underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. That is a bearish close. However, it is such a close close to that 30-minute 200 moving average that we just really need to see a follow through. So if we open down tomorrow, we'll see that 35 EMA actually come underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. That is going to be a sell signal. And this is different down here as well. We did actually cross up here, where in SPY we're right just underneath it. So a little bit of mixed signals between the two. I would be watching SPX for direction tomorrow. And then underneath that, if we do break underneath the 35 EMA and 30-minute 200 moving average combo here, then the next level to look for is going to be this 1 hour 200 moving average. Very clear support since last Friday. Every other time we bounced on it, So if we do drop tomorrow, that could be a place where we see a technical bounce. If we do make it underneath here, then I would be looking to 558.55, 58.45 bull put spreads for hopefully a close within the trading range. We have that election gap right here for support tomorrow. I do think 58.55 would be max pain on the day. I'm not saying we can't go lower later in the week or next week. I just think that tomorrow 58.55 is likely as low as it goes. All right, so QQQ, the implied move over here tomorrow on the day is actually wider than the 30-day average volatility. That is a warning. That is a warning that it's very likely that we see some really big moves tomorrow, and it is between 495 to 512. On Friday's contract, that's 494 to 513. Really wide trading ranges, 1.5% on the day, 1.83% on the next day, so Friday's contract. So expect some wild times. To the upside, we do have this battle zone gap right here, this up gap, this down gap, and especially where they overlap, pay attention for resistance. Top of the gap right here is 508. 509 is the top of the bear gap. I would expect that $1 range to be a massive resistance. And then 512 is the top of the implied move for tomorrow. 513 on Friday. And to the downside, we do have the 30-minute 200 moving average and the 35 EMA trading underneath it. That is bearish. And underneath that, we have the 1 hour 200 moving average, and we have seen some nice bounces on that level. Bottom of the implied move is 495. That actually takes it down to the 50-day moving average, and 494 on Friday's contract. So big range here tomorrow. I'm sticking to saying that I see a bear flag right here, and maybe we take this up to the bottom of this, finish that flag, and then drop it down to the 50-day moving average. Of course, that doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to play out that way. And if we pop up, then I'll be looking at spreads up here. And if we drop, I'll be looking for spreads down here. So to me, it actually makes no difference which direction we take. I just happen to be looking at this bear flag, and in my opinion, I think we do see lower. And IWM. Implied move here for tomorrow is 228 to 234. That is from options. 30-day average volatility is quite a bit wider, 226 to 236, $2 wider in each direction, and 227 to 235 on Friday's contract. Now we are bearish here with that 35 EMA underneath us and underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. Even though we did close above both of those levels, the technicals are saying that we are right now bearish. Little bit of a mixed signal here because we did find support here with the signal line, and we did also hit oversold. So lots of mixed signals. Let's see tomorrow if we can get this 35 EMA back above the 30-minute 200 moving average, or if we get pulled back down because it's already under. So to the upside, we're above these two levels, and then if we do continue that momentum up, 234 is the next level to look for, 235 on Friday's contract, and if we do break down here, then the next level is 228, 1 hour 200 moving average, which we did bounce on earlier this week, and then 227 is the bottom of the implied move on Friday's contract. Just underneath that, we do have a little bit of this election gap left and the 50-day moving average, which could offer some support as well as we head into the end of the week. All right, and lastly, DIA. The implied move for tomorrow in DIA is between 429 and 439. That is from options. The implied move on the week that we got the rating on at the very beginning of the week, 428 to 441. And to the upside, if we do keep moving upward after breaking out here above the 35 EMA, Then the next level to look for is going to be this down gap. This is from last week after inflation data. So we had that CPI and PPI that showed both were moving higher. Then we gapped down. And that brought us down to the 30-minute 200 moving average. So the bottom of that gap is 436. And top of that gap, 437. I'm actually going to say 438 as the top of the gap here. It's close to that. And then 439 is the top of the implied move. Underneath us, 35 EMA and 30-minute 200 moving average. We are still bullish here in DIA. So this 35 EMA has not crossed underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. This is a place where it can turn back and we may move higher. And Stupid Willie is also supporting that at the moment. It hasn't been looking very strong, but it is still green and is still moving us higher right now. And definitely within the intraday moves. And I didn't close down this election gap. We did fill about a third of that gap, and we got down to where the bear gap and the bull gap overlap. So right there, that did end up being a support. It's at the bottom of the implied move for the week. So that definitely could be a place to look if we do drop. So right around that 429. And then underneath all of that, we do have the 50-day moving average. I don't know if I explained DIA well today, but I did the best I could. Hopefully you guys got everything that I meant to say. And there you have it, guys. Everything you need for tomorrow. Have fun, trade safe, make sure you take profits when you're up, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.